There have been a steady set of improvements, tweakings, broadly reform measures being announced by the government in various sectors. Defense kind of hit the headlines when that 80,000 crore expenditure and capex plan was announced for that sector. In terms of reform measures itself, we just got one, that 49% foreign direct investment being allowed in the defense sector. We do not know of other reform measures, but we have an expert who would know more. Deba Mohanty, the former member of FICCI Defense Committee, joins us. Mr. Mohanty, we know a lot of press publicity came for that FDI, 49% FDI being allowed for manufacturing defense equipment. Have you noticed any other reform measures and procedures that the new government has initiated?
Well, yes, in the last 5 months, before I come to that, I must tell you one thing. Very significant statement was made by the Indian Defense Minister just after, within 15 days of assuming charge as Defense Minister. He was speaking to reporters at the Western Naval Command in Mumbai. And to a question he made a statement called more procurement and faster procurement. Now, we have seen more procurement. If you look at in the last three Defense Acquisition Council meeting, the government has cleared already more than 120,000 crore of defense equipment purchases. That's more procurement. But he also mentioned about faster procurement, which actually means that the procedural bottlenecks which have been there hampering the defense procurement of the country, leading to a very, very neglected or negatively impacted the military modernization program, is also on its way. Apart from the FDI, which the government has raised it to 49%, and even more on a case-to-case basis, which is a good news. But apart from that, they have simplified the procedure, licensing procedure, simplified the security clearance procedure. They are looking into a whole set of issues like refinement in the next defense procurement procedure, looking at the defense offsets obligation issues. So a lot of homework is being made. So I think we should be hopeful of further reforms in time to come.
Sure. Mr. Mohanty, good morning. In order to speed up the modernization of the armed forces, the Defense Acquisition Council has gone ahead and cleared 80,000 crores worth of projects. What kind of realistic opportunity do you see for private sector players in this chunk, and which are the companies that could benefit from this?
Well, these are two issues, two questions that you have raised. One is we have to look at when the government says, and I assume it means because it has already announced in the last three procurement decisions, massive procurement decisions, that they would emphasize, they would give more projects to the private sector. Just a little back into the history, if you look at in the last 3-4 years, we have three kinds of procurement. You have buy global, where the technology is not available, so you have to do outright purchases. You have buy and make. You buy something and then you make it through license production or other means within India. And then you have make products which make procurement, which needs to be given to the private sector, which needs to be indigenously manufactured. The number of make products, the make projects have been very, very low, less than half a dozen in the last 3 years. But if you look at it in the last 4-5 months, when the government has announced and has given a thrust on the private sector, for example, they have given indicated two major projects to be awarded possibly to the private sector. One is the military transport aircraft, and the other one is the submarine projects. Now, these are very huge projects. And I'm sure that the existing companies who have been there, as a component supplier or as a bigger supplier to the Indian defense sector, would be certainly benefited. And as far as the companies are concerned, basically we have half a dozen major companies who have been established players in defense. Although they may not have done any system manufacturing, but they have manufactured very critical components of major defense items. So Godrej Industries has been there. The Tatas have been established players. The Mahindras, and Larsen and Toubro are the major players. As far as this 80,000 crore in which the submarine project has been, a portion of that could be awarded to the private sector. If you look at the Larsen and Toubro has got a good amount of expertise in submarine and related shipbuilding components. So Larsen and Toubro could be made for a could be looked at. But apart from that, the other companies, we must remember that our private companies are not defense dependent companies. Only a portion of their activities are related to defense. That too when they have sensed an opportunity in the large, very lucrative Indian market. So it will take a while for us. I mean, we need not be overtly optimistic, but we can certainly be optimistic for the private sector, which could get some kind of orders in time to come. And these are projects which have just been announced. Now the nitty-gritty will start flowing down. So we need to wait for a while in order to see where the water flows.
Okay, actually, I've got a couple of very minor questions. You said the Defence Minister announced that procurement will be faster. Has there been any actual change on the ground, or are you only going by that pronouncement? And two, you said Tata Group. Is there any specific company that you will point out as benefiting?
Well, as far as the Tata Group is concerned, they have two very good subsidiaries. One is Tata Power SED, Strategic Electronics Division, which is under the Tata Power. And the other one is the Tata Advanced Systems and Tata Advanced Materials, which are part of the Tata Group.
Okay.
They are not independent listed companies.
Okay.
But as far as your first point is concerned about the number of projects which have been cleared, the fact that so many projects have been cleared in the last 5 months, which is worth more than 120,000 crore, which is unprecedented in the Indian procurement history. So one can hope that speedy procurement will lead to faster implementation.
Okay. Just one point, sir. The key issue in the defense sector for the last many years is that there's been a strong preference towards defense PSUs. Do you get a sense that this time around things will be different, that a lot of more preference will be given to the private sector as well?
And in any case, which defense PSUs would you back as the front runners?
Well, I mean, there are only two defense PSUs which are listed in the stock market. One is the BEML and one is BEL. Both are likely to do extremely well because they have got good order books. Because most of the defense electronic projects are awarded to BEL, while BEML, which was in controversy for some time, but now that the CBI has made a closer report on that particular case, I think the BEML will again bounce back to get more and more orders from the sectors. But if you look at the Indian defense industry is being dominated and exclusively dominated by the defense public sector units. So most of the orders would naturally flow to the defense PSUs. But if you look at the last 10 years of effort of the government, be the previous government or the current government, the essential effort has been to encourage the private sector. In 2004-2005, there was this euphoria which was created once the government opened it up for the private sector. The private sector became overtly enthusiastic. But they needed to look at the complexity of the defense procurement mechanisms and the universe, the defense procurement ecosystem of the country, which used to be more complex. Now, with a lot of very small changes that have occurred in the past few years, things are moving up a little. They're improving a little. So one need not be overtly pessimistic, but need to be overtly optimistic about things that are likely to come. I think small changes will make big impact in time to come.
Okay, Mr. Mohanty, it was a pleasure listening to you. Thank you very much for joining us with your perspective.